Well, if you enjoyed Justin Trudeau's mass migration policies, you're going to love Mark Carney. It says here that Carney adds Century Initiative co-founder to Canada-US Council. The Century Initiative, co-founded by Mark Wiseman, calls for a massive increase in Canada's immigration levels, with the ultimate goal of bringing the country's population to 100 million people by the end of the century. And I, for one, am not surprised. I mean, he is a self-described elitist globalist.
People will charge me as being elitist or a globalist, to use that term, which is, that's exactly, it happens to be exactly what we need.
And reckless mass migration is what they do best. Well, here's the Century Initiative's webpage. They say, we need a bigger, stronger Canada. It says, our prosperity, diversity, and innovation help make Canada one of the best countries in the world to raise a family and start a business. I feel like the Century Initiative hasn't really been keeping up on things. I mean, YouTube's full of videos like this. Why I'm leaving Canada for a better life abroad. 6 reasons why I'm saying goodbye to Canada. I'm leaving Canada. I am leaving Canada. Why people are leaving Canada forever. Why I left Canada permanently. Why are people leaving Canada? I am leaving Canada, and it makes me sad. Are you getting the point? It says here we can manage our growth or accept decline. It says our population is tied to our quality of life. If we have more people, we have a larger workforce and we create more economic activity. This means more potential tax dollars we could use to maintain and improve social services, including healthcare. So here's Canada's population growth by year. Here's where Trudeau got in, and then you see it's just a big arrow straight up. And that's only to 2022. It got even worse. So that should really mean more economic activity, more tax dollars, and improved social services, healthcare. I wonder how that actually went. Well, here's the national debt. Let's see, it was down here before, and now it's all the way up here. Since the Justin Trudeau Liberals, with Mark Carney advising, obviously, took over, the national debt's been doubled. But that doesn't make any sense. Look at all this mass migration. Well, it must have been good for per capita GDP. Ooh. Well, let's see. The green line is U.S. GDP per capita. That's about when the Justin Trudeau Liberals took over, being advised by Mark Carney, of course. And then the two diverged from each other for some reason. Well, isn't that strange? In fact, when Justin Trudeau took over, Canadian and U.S. GDP per capita were about the same. Now there's almost a $30,000 a year difference. Well, that don't make any sense. Look at all of our mass migration. What's happening here? This doesn't make any sense. This is the opposite of what the Century Initiative told us was going to happen. Oh, and I almost forgot. They mentioned something about healthcare. Here's an article from Maclean's from 2024. Why patients are waiting so long in emergency rooms across Canada. In December, Ontario patients waited in ERs for an average of nearly 22 hours before being admitted to the hospital. But mass migration, though. I'm almost starting to feel like this is some sort of a scam. But what's this? From the Financial Post. This is from January 2024. Canada caught in population trap for the first time in modern history, economists warn. Population is growing faster than the economy can handle. Canada is caught in a population trap for the first time in modern history and needs to limit immigration to escape it, say economists with the National Bank of Canada. The National Bank's report joins the growing chorus of concern that the influx of newcomers over the past 2 years, many of whom are temporary workers or students, is too much for the economy to handle. From a global perspective, Canada's population growth of 3.2% last year was 5 times higher than the average of OECD nations. Quote, we currently lack the infrastructure and capital stock in this country to adequately absorb the current population growth and improve our standard of living, said the economists. Nowhere is this strain more evident than in housing, they say. So it's not like the consequences of the Liberals' mass migration scheme is some big secret. I mean, every Canadian knows it, and every Canadian needs to know Carney's plans. He's bringing in Mark Wiseman from the Century Initiative, whose goal is to make Canada's population 100 million people. And Canadians need to know that's what they're voting for with Mark Carney. Now, of course, Mark Carney, being the elitist, globalist, technocrat that he is, he's going to try and trick the lowly peasants into voting for him with vague promises. Here we have from the National Post, Liberal leadership hopeful Mark Carney pledges temporary cap on immigration. Well, what is that cap exactly? We have no idea. And how temporary is temporary? I've got a feeling that it's real temporary. And what's this here? From CBC Watcher. Here is Mark Carney at the same event thanking Mark Wiseman for his wonderful contribution with the Century Initiative.
Okay. Well, first, let me thank the Globe and Mark Wiseman, Century Initiative, everyone for.
And don't forget,
people will charge me as being elitist or a globalist, to use that term, which is that's exactly it happens to be exactly what we need.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.